3D, I think, is going to be an opportunity for the future. It's clearly in its early infancy stage, and I clearly see avenues for abuse if not handled carefully.
I don't really have a lot of thoughts about 3D gaming. It feels a little bit like a bit of a gimmick right now, but that's because we probably haven't really seen what's truly possible with the technology.
Oh, the technology is incredible. I think when we first plugged it into MotorStorm Apocalypse and looked at it, it blew our minds, you know. And it's something very, very exciting for gaming. It's, you know, people are waking up to this technology now in the cinema. I think Avatar really took a lot of people by surprise because just how immersive it was in 3D.
You know, motion picture industry is doing it, so clearly there's a space for it in games for it to be successful. We'll have to see how that works out. I don't think that anyone has really mastered that technology yet, so we'll have to all kind of sit on the edge of our seats and wait to see where it goes.
You can look around the environment right now at E3, and a number of projects would be much more fun and more interactive and more interesting if they were in 3D. And I think the technology is allowing us to do that more and more now.
3D in film and games, it's yet to convince me personally, but you know, I'm interested, and we'll see what happens.
Problem with it is the cost of the barrier to entry, right? Is the cost, because it's going to be enormously expensive to get that kind of setup. I mean, I've had a look at it while I've been here, and it is pretty cool, but I'm not entirely sold on it yet.
3D gaming, I don't know. I don't want to put glasses on when I'm doing anything. I have enough trouble with like finding these glasses when I go around the place. I think 3D gaming is probably stunted until TVs come out, but I don't have to put glasses on. And there's stuff like that. Like they were showing stuff at GDC this year. I forget what the company was, a German company, but they had a glasses-free TV working with GTA 4, and it looked amazing. So I think it's once we get past that hurdle, and once I don't put glasses on to watch 3D stuff, I think it's going to take off.
I recently saw some cool stuff at E3. THQ had a couple TVs on display which were first generation 3D TVs that didn't need glasses. And I think that's a big step forward because people wearing those glasses around their house with their buddies, I think they're just going to get razzed.
I think that if you get focused on the tech rather than the gameplay experience, that's when you run into trouble. Certainly there can be some great experience there. So it really all depends on how you handle that media.
What's really exciting for me about 3D gaming is actually when we get over the hype of putting it in, is actually putting it in a meaningful way. So it becomes part of the gameplay and not just kind of this peripheral addition to something that makes you a bit more immersed in the idea, but actually how do we make 3D gaming something that's fun and you know, you interact because of the 3D.
There are going to be some titles that definitely suit 3D more than others, like say first-person shooters, etc. But on the other hand, there will be games that genres that certainly don't fit 3D gaming at all. So if we do have this new sort of 3D gaming trend that does even occur, I expect it to happen on a more limited genre by genre basis.
Personally, I'm very interested in 3D gaming. I'm curious where it's going to take us, where it's going to lead to. I don't know if you could say it's going to become the standard of the industry. I look at 3D gaming as just another way of presenting a game, and if it suits the game's needs, and by all means go for it. There are all different types of games, and each game requires something different.
But it's a cool feature. You know, it adds a lot. I think depending on the type of game that you're playing and how the developer sets it up, I think it can really add a lot to the gameplay. So yeah, I think it's here to stay for sure.
I think anything that you know, makes the games we make feel more immersive and lets players feel a much closer connection to our world is a positive thing for us. So if 3D is part of that solution, then I'm all for it.
I'm convinced that gaming is going along the lines of eventually reaching a Star Trek holodeck. So every step that leads towards that final destination, I think it's just a natural evolution of the process, and I think 3D is just part of it. I mean, Avatar's incredible success is immediately going to spawn the whole 3D line, and then from there it's going to be a completely 360-degree experiences where you're in the middle of the movie. That's where the future's going.